Hey everybody, and welcome to day one of the Gloria Peplum and Dress Sew Along, hosted and sponsored by Sly Fox Fabrics and 5 out of 4 Patterns. Thank you for coming. We're glad you're here. We're excited about this dress and this lovely fabric. Love this. Rayon spandex, by the way. Super comfy, super cool, perfect for spring and summer. Dress, peplum length, long, short dress, and a long dress length. Tons of options. I love the cold shoulder alternative with the split sleeve. Kind of fun. There also is a traditional sleeve if you don't like the split. So I am ready to get started. If you don't have the pattern, please head out to 5out of4.com to get your Gloria pattern. There is a discount code. Here's your code. Use that for 20% off on the website, 5out of4.com. If you already have your pattern, awesome. We are ready to get started. Today our goals are to print out our pattern, assemble our pattern, cut out our pattern, and cut out our fabric. And that's it for the day. If you are a confident pro and you're ready to forge ahead, please feel free starting your project. If you are new to 5 out of 4 patterns, if you are new to PDF patterns, if you are new to sewing, or if you just hope to learn a little something new, feel free to continue watching the video. Tons of helpful hints today, so it's a little bit longer. I tried to keep it short and sweet. It should be under 15 minutes, so it won't take up too much of your sewing time. But I hope you watch the video, learn something new, and be sure to post your progress pics on the Sly Fox Sew Along group. That's how you'll be entered to win prizes. So you have to post progress pic for each day. So there will be 3 days to post. Third day you'll post your final dress pictures, which I am so excited to see. So thanks for joining us. Good luck and have fun. Hi ladies, this portion is on assembling your pattern. The first thing that I suggest doing is choosing your options. This pattern has a ton of options. You have 2 necklines, you have 5 sleeve lengths on your traditional sleeves, and then you have 4 sleeve lengths on your split sleeves. You have 3 skater skirt options and 3 high-low skirt options. So tons of choices to make, and I suggest making those before you start because there is a printing guide that tells you which pages need to be printed for specific options. It's going to save you paper and ink if you don't print out those pages that you don't need. So I suggest doing that first. I am doing the high scoop short split sleeve with a short skater skirt length. So that's what I'm doing for this tutorial, that pretty much goes through all the same steps no matter which options you're doing. There is an assembled pattern layout page that shows you how to lay out your pieces. So ours is going to be 1 through 8 across the top, and then you're going to come down here, so it's going to go 8 across and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down. Lots of paper. I think it's a 62 page pattern, so if you can cut out some of that, like if you're only doing a short sleeve, you would need to print out this section here because you're not going to use that. Again, just a ink and page saver. So once you pick out your options, you know which pages to print. The first thing to do once I print out my pattern is I always check my 1-inch square to make sure my scale on my printer was correct. And as you can see, it's a perfect 1-inch square, so we're good there. This is my guide. I usually tend to be grade between a small and a medium on my 5 out of 4 patterns. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm taping these together, which I'll show you in a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to, I start left to right, top to bottom, kind of like we do when we're reading. So on all of your pattern pieces, you're going to have these gray lines. You always want to make sure that these lines are visible. So when you're putting your papers together, you're going to take your left side of page 2, right side page 1, and you're just going to line up right next to that gray line. And you just want to kind of make sure that your lines line up here, your cutting lines. So that's lined up. I use just Scotch tape for mine. So I usually do kind of one at the top, one toward the bottom. And on this, I just want to make sure that I have a piece of tape where I know I'm going to be cutting. So I know I'm going to be cutting over here between this area, and I want to make sure I have a tape right there so that when I do cut it, the pages don't bend and come apart. And that helps too when you're folding it up, when you have, you know, a quadrant down here. You know, I always put one at the quadrant as well, where we have 4 pieces of paper attaching to each other. So we were just going to work our way down. Now page 2 and 3 don't actually work in unison at this junction. So I just put one tape there just so that it keeps its shape and nothing gets twisted down here. But I know I don't need 3 or 4 there per se. And then I'm going to line up again here, the right side of page 3, left side of page 4, keeping my gray lines visible. Just kind of checking to make sure that all of my lines are matching up, which they are perfectly. And then again, I'm going to put my tape where I know I'm going to be cutting out my size, because once I cut this, if my tape's up here, it's not going to hold this together. It's going to flip open. So I put it here because I know I'll be cutting right in this area, and it will hold that together nicely. So you're going to work all the way over from 1 to 8. And then you're going to come back over here for our second row. And on this, it's very similar. You'll be lining up your gray lines, just like this. Oh, that's the wrong piece. Where's my layout? I need page 9, not page 10. Here we go. Okay. So it was obvious, if this is the first time doing a PDF pattern, it was obvious that that did not line up. These lines do not match. So that was my first red flag. These ones line up much better. So again, line up, gray lines showing, gray lines showing. Here's that quadrant I was talking about. Once we put our page 10 on there, like so. And then that way you can see that everything's lining up nice and pretty there. And I put one right over the quadrant. And then again, I want to make sure that I have one right here where I know I'm going to be cutting. And it doesn't look like I even need one there, but I'll put one just so it doesn't twist and play games with me when I get all 8 layers of this on here. Okay, and then you're just going to work your way all the way down the line. Okay, now that we have our pattern assembled, it's time to start cutting. Before you cut, I do suggest making any adjustments to the pattern that you need. If you need to lengthen or shorten the side length according to the tutorial, now is a good time to do that. Just make sure you do it on your back bodice as well as your front bodice. You would just simply cut straight across here, and then you would either add an inch of paper or ½ inch or whatever you need, or take away some paper if you need to shorten it. So now's a good time to do that. Also, if you need to grade between sizes, for instance, on a medium at the top, I kind of slim out to a small and around my waist, and then back out to a medium around my hips. So if I wanted to, I could say grade from a medium down to a small for my waist, and then grade it back out for a medium on the skirt. So if I narrow this on my bodice, I'm going to have to narrow it just a little bit on my skirt as well, just so that those pieces attach as they should and line up when you're actually sewing them and assembling the skirt and the bodice together. So at this point, we are going to go ahead and cut out our piece. I'm going to do a medium, so I'm going to follow this pretty blue line. And you'll notice that there are 2 lines. So the inside line is if you're going to do a sleeveless top bodice. If you're going to do add sleeves, and you're going to want to use that outer line. Okay, we've done the hard part. We have printed our pattern, assembled the pattern, cut it out, and we have graded between sizes if necessary. So we are ready to cut out our fabric. Basically, I start with my largest pattern piece because I want to make sure I have enough fabric. I don't want to get to the end and be short. So we have to cut 2 skirts on the fold. So what I have done is I have taken my fabric and folded it in half, and I aligned this straight edge of the pattern alongside the folded fabric. So we will not cut this edge. We're going to cut along the waistband and down the side seam and then the bottom hem. The first thing you need to do is determine if you're doing the peplum length, short dress length, or long dress length, and then cut it according to whatever size you need. You want to make sure that you have your fabric with your stretch going this way across the width. The easiest way to do that is where'd she go? Here we go. So I just do selvage to selvage and then fold it in half. So I have my fold here, and it's the stretchiest part of the fabric, which goes the width of the fabric. And you want that to go the width of your piece as well, so that it lays correctly on your body when it is assembled. I think that's it for this. So this is the skirt. We're going to cut 2 on the fold, and then we'll go on to our next piece. The next piece we are going to cut is the front bodice, and this is another one that is on the fold. So you need to fold your fabric over. You want to line up that straight edge on your fold. You need to choose either a high scoop or a low scoop. There's also additional cut lines over here. This says cut on the inside line for a sleeveless option and outside line for the sleeves. So mine has sleeves, so I used that outside line for that. You want to make sure you have your stretch going the correct way. And this particular bodice, you want to have the right length. Waist length, I guess is what it's called. And there is a little piece in the tutorial that teaches you or shows you how to measure your waist length. And with this type of peplum, you want it to sit exactly at your natural waist because that's going to give you the best silhouette. So I encourage you to go ahead and do that waist length measurement and lengthen or shorten as necessary because it really will define your waist nicely and it'll look fabulous on. So take the extra time to do that. Anyways, I am going to pin my pattern piece to my folded fabric and cut. The next piece we're going to cut out will be the sleeves. I am choosing the split sleeve option, elbow length. So for the split sleeve, I need to do 2 of the front and 2 of the back. And it needs to have a mirror image. So the easiest way to do that is to layer 2 pieces of fabric. I do wrong sides together. Make sure you have the stretch going the right way. Cut this out, and then you'll have one main, and then you'll have another one with the mirror image of that. So I'm going to cut this one out for the front. I will repeat for the back, and that's it for the sleeves. Just a quick note, I'm going to leave my pattern pieces pinned to my cut out fabric pieces because the front and back of the split sleeve are very similar, and I think I will get them confused at assembly time. So I'm just going to leave those on there so I know exactly which ones are which when it comes time to sew them up.